when last we left Odette, she had just woken up from, one could call it a dream, but it's more a divine visit from Record, the god of knowledge and information. And he kept asking you a simple question. What is your goal? To which you kept asking, how do I achieve my goal? And he told you several times you need to know better questions. So he kind of forced you to wake up and try again. What is Odette doing this morning?
Odette would wake up less alert than she's typically wakes up, and finds that a little strange. But a large influx of information, seeing a god's name and then meeting a god, that might do that to you. And she forces her way out of the bed, and I assume there's like a change of clothes or something they've provided.
Yes.
And will change out of her rags from the tower, and sort of just try to get cleaned up and look as presentable as possible, which I don't think is something she's ever cared about, but due to all the eyes on her, she's actually starting to feel sort of self-conscious. And once she feels a little more put together than she's ever been, she will leave the tower. Leave the tower. We already did that. She will leave the room and start heading towards the place with the records that are bad or that are restricted, to try to get some more access on the history of the tower, that original goal, to see if that can help her with this new information she has.
Sure. Yes, you lead your way back to that, the one, to clarify, the one that you had to have the slip to get into, right? Okay. You're probably stopping on the way for some morning food so that you're not, absent of mind in the later part of the day. Making your way in. They recognize you, and they kind of give you a wide breath, because you have been given express permission from all of the higher-ups that could possibly give it to you. But the one person who you ran into yesterday does kind of like direct you to the area that you would look at. Well, best of luck getting all of your everyone information thing. Don't die.
Thank you. You too.
I'm not getting gods mad at each other, so I don't think I'm gonna.
Okay. Thank you. This is Shane, right?
No, Shane was the guard outside the
Gosh,
the one from the start.
dang
Yeah.
it. I was
You
like,
never
I
asked this guy
remember
his
the
name.
names. Then I will, because I want to be nice.
His name is Jackson.
Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
She'll just say, thank you for your help, Jackson. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm gonna be at the front, so if you need anything, I guess come ask. It's my job to help you.
Okay, thank you. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I'm just gonna start looking. I'm out of my depth. Typically, how I get information is someone says, I have this thing, and it's your only option, and you get to read it. And so, this influx of information, it's probably a little overwhelming.
Yeah. As I say, you could do a feel something or someone out to try and find it. If you're looking specifically for parts of the tower tied to the name you saw but did not understand, you could recognize a god. Or if you're just hoping, you could pick up a book and start.
Let's feel something out.
Okay.
Let's do that. Here.
Yeah.
What feels welcoming on the surface is this, again, this place is so pristine and bright, like aesthetically.
Mhm.
And as daunting as it is, the fact that there just is records here and archives and history is genuinely her, like, a dream she's had. And so there's like a childlike giddiness that she's trying to keep down so she can stay focused on the task and the actual seriousness of this goal.
Mhm. And then I think the things that are dark and nerving as you peer deeper is you have already come to grapple the concept of some information not being publicly available. And as you're making your way through and looking at documents and everything, you're finding that some of them have been redacted. So not only is this information locked away from the public, there are parts of scrolls or parts of books that have been locked away even from people allowed to read them.
Oh,
I think that gives you a bit of, not concern, but a bit of a notion that, something is off here. But you are able to find different sources that specifically relate to the start of the tower, what you're trying to find. Not all of them are in great condition. Not all of them exist without conflicting something the other ones are saying. But the general premise you can find, I'll say there's probably like 4 different like resource texts that mention it as you're looking through the entire area. It's not a very big area. It's kind of locked away in the back. The general premise here is that there was a god who chose to not engage in the violence of the rest of the war by removing themselves and therefore their followers' freedom from the world. It seems like the way that whoever recorded this is, which you've seen the bias of man, that's not you, but you've also seen the bias of your own people. Whoever recorded it didn't write it down as the original 3 were gifted unending life as long as they worked for perfection. It's that they were trapped there and not allowed to leave.
reading through this and through pretty much anything in this sparse area that she can get her hands on, there's almost a homesickness of it was a fairly simple but interesting life to her at the tower. It wasn't a very good one, though. And seeing this information, no matter how it's said, no matter how it's worded, the original goal of the tower, no matter what it is no longer sustainable. And the tower's either going to fall, and there's going to be a lot of deaths, and then the purpose of the tower will continue through the people that survive, if any, or the people are able to escape but do not know the original intent and will just do what they must do next to serve this god without knowing they're doing it. So she's got a lot to think about right now, as the idea of someone giving her divinity. Why did they do that? And how is she going to have to use that potentially in her lifetime? And it might be sooner than she'd like. And again, just feeling so small. I'm just like, okay, I'm just one person who fell out of the tower by chance, and now I'm here, and this fun quest that I've dreamed of has turned real, and it actually has a lot of moral quandaries.
Yeah. Nice. Do you think that this information leads you to furthering your goal anywhere, or do you think you have to go somewhere else to get more information?
I'm trying to think of what more information she would want. And I feel like she wants more information on gaining divinity as a mortal. To now learn more about herself and see if that can assist. But if I do that, I sure would like to use one of my servant moves, which is how can I pass unnoticed looking for that.
Sure thing. Using your servant move, it's not that hard to pass unnoticed here. This is the building that had like 4 or 5 scholars in it at the height of the day yesterday. You're here essentially first thing in the morning, and even the people that are meant to be watching over you aren't. They were like, we don't want to be touched by your essence, go to the back corner. Just in case, you started a god war, as they seem to have been told by record. So it's not hard to pass unnoticed here. I think the harder part is going to be finding the information correctly, because this is not the sort of thing that's going to be displayed. Like, how to become a god is not in the libraries of man. So it's going to have to be more of a social thing that you're trying to ask people, or seeing if you can get into that third building, which you have permission for, but like the more temple-esque building, and hoping maybe Samuel or someone in there could answer those questions. But finding it written here would be nearly impossible unless you had a very specific way of finding it.
Yes, so I gotta figure out how to word. Yeah, it's not about becoming a god, but like, were there any like godlings, and like a history with godlings, and what was their deal? So yeah, that would probably be at the temple.
Yeah, and I think on that question, you remember yesterday, or in the dream, that record said you shouldn't exist. Like,
yes,
you're not meant to be. So I think that would innately let you know, probably not. But if there is, the people that know would know.
Okay. This is kind of odd. With all the information I've gained, if I flip through the Wayfarer's journal, is there anything that connects to literally anything that I've found out through that?
Yeah. There is. You would see not exactly tied in, like not one person becoming a godling or things of that nature, but there are a few stories of humanity manifesting miracles without the help of a god. One of them that you had previously read is a garden that was tended to so well by the person that lived there that even in her death, it continues on eternally without her there. There was one that you had read of a place that's where like mortals meet the divine, of a god of passage who allows people a spot of respite when they need it, but also makes it seem like those people don't exist until they come back. So you have heard of 2 or 3 places where humanity and divinity work together or independently to manifest a miracle, but not anything of like person A became divine.
Okay, all right. Genuinely, I don't know if there's any more specific information she's looking for. She might just spend the day, though, getting as much information as she can, just in general, like the information overload of this place and everything she's learned, and everything she's gonna need to unlearn is like, oh, there's almost an over eagerness to do it. Of like, well, I'll just start right now. Like, I'll just learn
Okay.
everything right now.
I'll say on that, you are then able to easily find not directions to the places mentioned in the journal, because they're named, but they're not like large monuments, but you get a general sense of like the greater typography of the world. So Odette now is like, oh, the things I've seen, I now understand kind of how they connect. And I'd also like you to make a tempt fate roll here to see if you just
Okay.
dive a little too much into learning about the world, because it can be a lot to change your worldview in 6 hours.
Yeah, it can be. What are the things I have?
Nothing. You do not have anyone assisting you. You have other options, and there is no one that wants to hurt you.
Then that would be +1. You're far from any god that wishes
Yeah,
you harm.
so yeah, you have a +1 there, yeah.
So that is an overkill then, because I rolled a 9.
Okay. So we won't refer to them as your enemies, perhaps, but the people in here start to notice the rapid consumption that you have. There's not really a way for somebody to learn this much in one day.
Oh.
But Odette seems to be capable of it, as the little bit of the divine within you lights up. And you're not sure if you're moving and comprehending at a faster speed than anyone around you, or if everyone around you has slowed down. But your desire and want to learn, to have information, to be aware, sparks up some being of your divinity and allows you to manifest it temporally so that you can do this. Which, even though earlier you did try and move unseen, is a huge way to attract attention.
Oh, shucks.
Yes. And again, nobody here is your enemy, so there's no one that's moving on you immediately. But you do get the eyes of all of the record keepers. You do get the eyes of Jackson and Samuel, and they do swiftly tell you, okay, that's what you're doing is a lot, and we are going to need to ask you to exit the premise. Just, we don't need whatever you're doing to cause more ire.
What am I doing?
Would you like gesture down as they point to you?
Yeah.
What color do you think your divinity glows with?
I think right now it's a very soft, pale blue.
Okay. Then you would see yourself glowing a soft blue, but also a trail behind you as you've left your mark on everything you've read, traceable to your origin point of when you've committed to learning.
Thank you so much for your time. I will leave. I'm just like, I'm gonna seeing that, like, a moment of protest, sees what they're referencing, and she's like, yep, I'm gonna go.
Okay. Have a good rest of your day. I
You
thought that was
too.
going to be harder. And
Nope.
Jackson just kind of turns from the third awkward conversation he has had with Odette to walk away.
One of the greatest friends she's ever had.
Where would you go?
Oh gosh, I think she's just going back to that room, back to the room, to try to figure out how to shake this look off, because she's like, what is it? What's this? I probably need to talk to Record again, so and need to actually write down the stuff I learned in my notebook that I have now. She's gonna go back to her room.
Okay. Yeah, I think by the time you make it back, it has faded, especially as it wasn't fully unleashing your divinity, but it was quietly activating something that's already been active, as something Odette is truly interested and compassionate about becomes your primary focus. The divine spark within you flares up a bit. By the time you make it back, you have cleared your mind, you have released the bit of it that was present, and you're alone with your notebook and your writing utensil.
To sort of shake off the feeling of like the intensity and the exhaustion of receiving so much information, she, I think, will just kind of write everything she can, and it doesn't look very good, and then throughout the day she'll take pieces of it and add a melody and lyrics, and will test it out on her lute as sort of just a comfortable feeling of, this is what I do, this is what I used to do, and the familiarity in a place that is completely unfamiliar in every sense of the word is very comforting for her, to try to just ground herself and process that information and sort of process that homesickness she's starting to feel. She misses her friends, her friend. She misses Alexander. She misses her little spot in the tower, and she misses being good at what she does as well, because since she's fell from the tower, everything has been better than her. And she's trying to find that familiarity of knowing how to do something for the rest of the day, of just until it's time to talk to Record again, gathering those thoughts, trying to feel like herself again.
Mm-hmm. And in doing that, do you take the advice from Samuel to clear your mind before going to bed, or do you think you go to bed with all those thoughts racing?
I don't think she knows how to clear her mind.
Okay.
I think she tries, but I really don't think she knows how to do that.
Cool. Then as Odette falls to sleep for the second night in a row, her thoughts racing like a tempest, you feel something creeping into your mind, kicking up dust you did not want kicked up, resurfacing memories that you had long forgotten, and just prying through everything until there is a person, a god, sitting at the table across from you in bed.
Oh god. Do you have to do that every time?
I like things to be orderly, and you have not made me an orderly home.
Sorry. She's gonna get up out of the bed, walk back to the table, and sit back down with the Wayfarer's. She'll sort of, if she can, have the Wayfarer's journal on the table and her notebook as well next to it, as just sort of grounding pieces for her, as well as references if she needs them.
So you've learned a new goal today?
I would like to save the people in the tower.
Suppose that's slightly different than I would like to save the people in the tower by sharing information.
I would like to save them by whatever means necessary.
See, now that puts so many more avenues on the table. You could, of course, kill them like you did to Comfort. But you don't know how to kill them, do you?
No.
You could also try and spare them and hope that by immortalizing them further into the body they've left on the ground, that they have to take care of themselves. But you still don't know where their heart is, do you?
No.
You could also choose to forget them all. Stay here. It'd be much easier.
I don't think this would ever be a home for me, knowing
But this is home.
my home.
Interesting. People forget. Not everyone came from here, but this is everyone's home who lives here.
I don't want that.
So you want everything to return the way it was?
That's not what I said.
So what do you want?
I want the people of the tower to be free.
Freedom. What a noble goal. So, which avenue would you like to explore?
Tell me more about the heart.
Well, and they will go into reach somewhere, and you feel from your own mind a thought pulled forward and put on the table. This is Comfort, who you are intimately familiar with. They had a heart, they had a body, and they had their hunger. Their hunger was just to do kindness, and their heart was the field, and you killed them by refusing their kindness. Every god has a downfall. You just need to learn what it is.
What would be the best avenue to finding the information on this one?
Well, in order to know their downfall, you probably need to know who they are. So I'd start with trying to find their name, but know that if a god has done this much work to stay unnamed, someone immediately learning it will have their attention.
Where can I learn the name? Where do I start?
I imagine, if anything, they're as vain as the rest of them, and wouldn't have kept it too far. Also for security, to make sure no one can see it. Was there anything around the tower that was grand but forbidden, or hidden in the distance of the skyline?
There was, correct me if I'm wrong, the center of the tower was more protected and coveted.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an area that people couldn't access, right? Or
Yes.
okay. Yeah. There is a spot in the tower that people are unable to access.
Maybe it's recorded there then.
Right. Alright, so I just have to get back to the tower that doesn't have a way to get back up, and then go to a completely restricted area that no one's been able to get into without permission.
There you go. Now you have actionable steps.
Yeah, that's something, I guess.
If you need help getting up, I have someone who might interest you.
Who?
The god of wind. They're not dead yet, and they own a lot of the land around the tower, as I'm sure you can imagine, having lived there. They are very self-interested, but as long as you're acting in their interest, they will welcome aid. You could always ask them for a boon, some wings perhaps, or, again, pulls on the memory of you staring into the mirror at the end of the field. Do what you're known for doing, and just steal their power for yourself again. Clearly, having the power of respite has made you extremely comfortable in the last few months. Good for you.
You can go through my mind on a whim. Can't you see by now that none of that was intentional?
Intent very rarely matters when it comes to outcomes. And you killed a god, and everyone knows it. So whether it's intentional or not, everyone that you ever meet that knows of it will see it as an action you chose to take, and you can either continue to dismiss it and appear weak, or claim it and give people something to fear. The choice is yours. I'm just trying to help you see it.
Taking another life, divine or not, is not honorable.
Well. Anything else you'd like to know, then?
What is in the God of Wind's best interest, so that I can assist them and get a boon, or just a way to the tower in general?
They hate being locked down. They hate feeling controlled. Anything you can do to show that that's the same thing in your heart, I imagine you'll be kindred souls, and from what you've said already of your desires of freedom for the tower, you might just be on the same footing already. Just don't insult them, don't complain about the temperature, don't do anything saying, oh, one day the wind knocked my hat off, and they'll get mad about it because they gave you a gift and you chose not to receive it as such. Their personality changes as quickly as the wind does, so stay on your toes and don't misstep and you should be fine.
Okay. What are your goals through this?
You don't need to know that.
Wrong question. Alright, I see. Are you going to try to stop me in any way?
Not at all.
Alright. Well. I do have one more question, if that's alright.
It's your mind, your time.
Why are you okay with records being scratched out?
Well, we talked yesterday about safety, did we not?
Yes, but that doesn't seem like something that would be good for you.
You are quite mistaken if you think that's the only copy. A record redacted from a singular book does not redact the information from having once been written down or currently existing elsewhere in the world.
So withholding records is fine.
It's for everyone's best interest.
I see.
And of course, if you know to ask what's missing, then you already know what's missing. So those who chose to find the information through ulterior means clearly needed it well enough to know whether it was written down or not.
Well, thank you. You have given me a lot to think about. Again.
Well, best of luck. If you need to find her, she's on top of the mountain.
Okay. Where is this mountain? Where is this
you
mountain?
would know.
All
it's
right.
like the mountain range that you've seen
Yeah.
your entire life. Yeah.
Excellent.
Not gonna be easy to scale. But
Excellent. Great.
not hard to access.
Incredible. Awesome. Everything's great. She's gonna be like, if I can scale this mountain, why can't I have just scaled the tower?
The mountain's not a smooth, flat surface with no handholds.
Gosh, dang it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She will just, from there, stand up, give a slight bow of respect, and go back to the bed. Wait to wake up.
Okay. And then you wake up on the dawn of your third day in town. Do you renew your house, or do you head out?
I don't want to overstay my welcome, and I know that they'd be, on paper, okay with it, but she's not entirely okay with it, so she's gonna go with the currency they gave her, probably stock up on some provisions and some things that might help in climbing, if they have anything, like maybe a grappling hook. I don't know.
They do not have grappling hooks.
That's so mean.
But they...
What do you mean?
They are a flat city near the coast. They don't regularly leave town. They have scouting parties for that.
How dare they?
But they would have like general, like not like 50 feet of rope, but they would have like
I don't need that.
Material that you could like grab like some string for, or different like things that you could use if you wanted that kind of stuff. But they do not have adventuring supplies in the town like grocery store.
No, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. I'm mad about it and would like for things to be easy always. In the notoriously easy game where everything's good. I think she'll just kind of grab what she can. And I was like, man, I should have asked the scouting party for a grappling hook, but hindsight really is 2020. And she's gonna head out.
Okay. Yeah. You would pass the same guard on the way out. Shane seems to be working by himself. Yeah. Hey, you leaving town?
Yes, I am. But maybe someday I will be back.
There's no place like home.
You got that right. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, hope you found what you were looking for. Sad you're not joining us long term. Where are you off to now?
I'm not entirely sure. Is Shane? Because Shane was supposed to tell me, like, or was it Shane that didn't give good information?
So, yes, but when I think it was Gina was talking you through it,
yeah,
Shane would have assumed the adventuring party would have told you to do it. If you had just been walking up, like without a spear saying I belong here, it would have been Shane's job to say, hey, do XYZ. Gina assumes he didn't because you already had a spear, but that doesn't mean he didn't fail to do his job.
I just don't want him to get in trouble in any way because of her. And that's what she's thinking of. And so she's not gonna, I don't think she's gonna tell him that where she's planning on going, because she doesn't want to bring him any more trouble in case he did get in trouble because of her. So she's just gonna be like, I'm not entirely sure yet, but we'll see.
Okay, yeah. That's a wild move to leave to go nowhere, but hey, love your sense of adventure.
Thank you.
Hope you do what you need to do.
You too. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave.
Nice. And as you walk away, I think you would feel just like each step away you took, you know there are other towns out there. The people in home have mentioned that there are other settlements. You know that the adventuring parties are out trying to find whatever they might believe in. For the home people, it's a second cradle beneath the ground. But this is the second time you're walking away from a major settlement, but the first time by your own choice. What does that feel like for Odette?
There was definitely a temptation to stay, but the understanding that the people there would always potentially view her as different or odd because she is different was something she didn't want to commit to. She didn't want to commit to such a selfish act with it not being totally worth it when that tower is on a time limit, and so are the people there. In general, the people there are miserable. And I think she knows she wouldn't be able to live with that decision. And the understanding as she's leaving that she's leaving with a goal that is, in her mind, going against the morals she has, which is to potentially go willingly take a life from this unnamed god if that is where this ends up going. She's leaving with an unsure purpose, but knows that this place is not for her. Not right now. Especially with the quiet oppression that would have suffocated her, just like the tower.
Yeah, then one foot in front of the other, start making your way towards something you've seen your entire life. The mountain range that divided the tower from the rest of the world. You took the long curve around it by going to the ocean and then going through, but you see a range and you see a summit.
She just sort of readjusts the lute and readjusts the spear. And heads towards it with a determination that she hasn't had because she has a real direction to go. And the hesitation that's always brewing in her mind is something she's putting on the back burner because now she does have a plan, at least for now. Get to the summit and talk to someone. And that's good enough for her.
Then yeah, we'll kind of montage the next few days as you climb, each night finding a spot to sit and rest with. What would Odette's sleeping arrangement look like here climbing a mountain?
Ooh. It's very bare bones because she didn't want to take too much stuff. So I think it's genuinely just enough things to stay warm as possible, and a small fire during the night. And I really think that's just all she's got. It's not very cozy, and it's not very comfortable.
Yeah, not at all. And it is enough, though, for you to see, like, where she's at each night. A small trail of extinguished campfires, small footprints, starting just on rock, going over some water, making the way up top until it starts to get cold. Not just cold at night, but cold during the day. And around here you can start to hear the sounds of animals that live here. Which again, the animals aren't what we would expect them to be. They're all divinely touched creatures that have manifested some sort of mutation to stay alive. And you can hear them here, but you don't see them. And we'll say this is probably your 4th or 5th day ascending. So you're not too far from the top, but you're at the point now, which anyone that's lived near mountains or has been on a mountain, where you go, I could do that, and then realize immediately how steep it is. You're at like the base of that range when you start to hear these things around you.
Excellent. Cool. That's so cool. I'm reading my moves. I think I want to. I would say feel something out, but I don't think anything feels welcoming right now. I think I'll act impulsively at this point.
Okay.
Because Odette's getting to this point of feeling like she's being watched by something again. And doesn't really want to interact with any wildlife here because she doesn't want to have to kill anything if she can avoid it right now. And so I think she picks up her pace and tries to work very quickly, moving faster than she potentially should. And I think the advantage that she seizes is it's a startling difference to the pace she was taking. So might throw off, might just give pause to what was around her. But she doesn't even know if it's malicious. She just doesn't want to have to kill it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you see, like you start to hear, you don't see, but you start to hear something around you, hear it kick up, and choose to run as fast as you can. Okay. Yeah. As that's happening, not much seems to change in terms of the rooming or anything around you. You do hear a lot more sounds kicking up. You do hear a lot more. It's almost like small animals are trying to get to you. But again, they don't sound malicious. They don't sound mean. They just seem like they're trying to get to you. And the other the other option of that is what trouble hits you hard and fast. And I think one of them is trying to catch up to you so quickly that when you turn to see somewhere, it flies directly into your mouth. What? And you feel the wind being sucked out of you as this creature made of pure air is scrambling, and you're starting to feel yourself drained of your air and inability to breathe.
Oh gosh, that's bad. I want that out of my mouth. She immediately drops to her knees and tries to get that feeling out and the creature out because she doesn't want to hurt it. She's so inexperienced in all of this that just immediately that running, she's like, I shouldn't have ran from this. Should just confronted it. That's what they do in the stories. As she's gonna try to get this out.
Okay. Are you inflicting violence, tempting fate, or unleashing your divinity?
I would like to start by tempting fate. I will not inflict violence on this innocent thing. Did nothing wrong. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Do I add anything?
I will. Yeah, I'll give you the point of you have no other option. For if you don't get this out, you will die.
Okay. That's a 7.
Okay. So yeah, on a 7, you get to narrate what happens. How do you remove this little creature from you?
The panic and franticness calms for just long enough to be careful and just reach in and very gently try to remove whatever it is. Because if it's made of wind, then she's going to be as gentle as possible, because that doesn't seem like a fully corporeal thing. And yeah, it's just like that the calm down or you're gonna die mentality has come in, and so she's able, like almost in the nick of time, to safely, for it and her, remove it.
Yeah. And I'll say, despite it being entirely made of wind, as you're holding what you can, it seems to have shape. Like, it seems to have a small, like, fleshy middle part, and then it seems to have two wings that are paper thin, and it seems to be some sort of flying creature that's just also made of wind, and it just chirps at you.
She very gently sets it down as she's coughing and catching her breath as much as she can. And gives herself the time to recover from that. Sorry about that, little guy. Are you okay?
Sure.
Okay, good.
You would hear the rest of the, like, flock coming towards you with it.
She just kind of sits back against, like, the rock as she waits for them all to show up. Is like, okay, if these things are made from wind, then we just gotta confront this head on and see what's going on. And note to self, don't randomly run at the first sign of discomfort.
So as you choose to confront them, what move would you like to use? I think it would be one of your divine moves again, but which one do you think it would be? And I really think all of them here could work. Even challenge someone dangerous, because there is an audience here of these creatures. So it's not the traditional sense, but if you wanted to try and do it more socially that way. Yeah.
I'd like to recognize a god. I would like to see if she's nearby through this, or if she's watching through this, which I'm assuming that's what's happening. But
you will for sure get the point for being in or near their domain. Their domain seems to be global, but also you know that their sanctum is at the top of this. Are you familiar with their gospel? I would say you're familiar with their purpose from what Record told you. So I don't know if you're familiar with, like, their gospel, but also a lot of how we've been doing it is that they represent more of their core being than any sort of preaching or divinity in that way. So I'll say yes for that. And no, I don't think it would be bad if you didn't know here. So we'll give you a +2 to this roll.
Okay, so that would be an 8.
An 8, okay. Yeah, the creatures here, none of them are large, like that shifting beast you saw last time. They all seem to be small, like pocket-sized creatures. Even though you can't see them, you can see, like, as they sit in the snow where they land, you can see as, like, the one that flew into you is small enough to fit inside of a mouth. Like, they're not large in any capacity, so they don't seem to mean harm. Can you just make a general history roll for me as Odette with just 2d6?
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't think you would have a reference for this, but you also just did 6 hours of divine reading.
That's
so
true.
I want to just kind of see.
There's a 5.
Okay, yeah. On a 5, you don't have anything to draw upon with this. But you've seen how people tend to give support by sending smaller, innocent things. So you get a sense that maybe they're meant to either keep you safe as you get through the snow, or maybe guide you directly so that you don't lose your path and wander and freeze to death. These don't seem like they're an omen of ill will. They seem like the god of wind has sent them as a guiding party, and then they all panicked because you immediately fled from them. You also get to ask a single follow-up question.
That's what I'm thinking of. I feel like I got all my answers on them, but just because I'm worried about them, because they're adorable, do they have a way to protect themselves?
They are, again, like, divinely mutated, and you haven't noticed any predators.
Okay.
They don't seem to need protection.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
stuff. She'll stay for a good moment to catch her breath. And then sort of stand up and just be like, "Hi, sorry again about that. I was startled. I'm Odette.
Okay.
And I would love to go wherever you guide me. And thank you for your help."
And as the wind starts to turn up in like a specific direction, you can hear like all of their chirps and chitters. And as it gets snowier, you can see like the direct path that like they're carving out just physically as they move through it. I think that's where we'll end for today.
We look to the mountains. We don't care if it's only a dream. Nothing is really what it seems anyway. Now little by little, in the twilight's gentle flow, in the dance of fading light, we grow. And all the warnings, when you wanna be loved by everyone, you get fooled by anyone so easily. I'm lost. You say you're tired, so am I. But without you, I'm lost. I'm lost. Yeah, we can walk on water while the boats are leaking. Soon the walls will be giving in. Anytime now, anytime now. Another shrug of the shoulders. I guess I'll be walking